There's a line on the ground that'll take you anywhere. If you want to go somewhere in particular, you gotta follow the right line. But there's a line on the ground most places, and we're gonna follow that line to whatever we might find, though it might not be just what we were expecting. There's just no point directing that line on the ground. If you let it, it just might take you anywhere.
Good morning and welcome to Houston EV Hub. We're all frantic here at the start of school, ready to get here, racing down the roads in our electric vehicles, and they're perfectly equipped for doing that as long as you have a charge. The subject of this show this morning is about what happens when you run out of charge. And it doesn't happen that often to experienced drivers, but it happens now and then to
It happens to gas drivers.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
AAA wouldn't have a business if they didn't.
And that's Peter Tesarek, who is our guest today, who's going to tell us what you can do if that happens. I still call it running out of gas, and I puzzle my family, but fortunately we haven't had that situation. I just want to, of course, I'm David C. Lowy, and our producer is Colin Lowen.
Good morning.
And here with us, just having survived a boxing match with her dog, a slight black eye, Susie Lovejoy.
Good morning.
As Zap. But I just want to mention some rather sobering and also some encouraging statistics. Many people don't know or just aren't aware enough of the fact that over 30,000 people die on our roads every year in the United States alone, some millions worldwide. And the statistic for 2024 was 39,345 people, largely attributable to human error. So, as my family well knows, I'm a big fan of the prospect of autonomous driving in the not that distant future. And it's projected that some 90% of those fatalities can be eliminated. That would be 35,410 lives saved.
Wow.
Out of that group for 1 year. So I'll just say briefly, in my opinion, I'm a big fan, and autonomous EVs have the potential to both improve the atmosphere, save lives, and there are many economic benefits, including no hospital stays and loss of income from missing work and so forth. There's just a lot to like about that. But let me remind you that our phone number is 713-526-5738. And if you have comments on what we're talking about or questions for us and our guest, please call in. You can also donate to the station at that number. Right now, here's Colin's cool fact.
All right. In a recent study in the UK, EVs showed an 83% reduction in brake dust pollution compared to internal combustion cars due to their use of regenerative braking that slows the car by recharging the battery. Brake pads contribute up to 55% of the particulate pollution. California has proven that neighborhoods where EVs are common, air pollution and asthma emergency admissions decline. In my 15 years of owning an EV, I have never done any work on the brakes.
Yeah, and that's largely because we're doing one-pedal driving. We rarely touch the brakes, and if you time it right, you can come to a full stop at a light and feel like Jerry Seinfeld when he was in those commercials, filling his tank to the exact scent, and he'd say, perfect pump, so I think perfect stop. But here's Susie's electric question of the day.
Well, speaking of perfect stops, I wondered if I wanted to stop using a gas car, why would I have an EV? I wanted to know what your motivation is for getting an EV.
And we're going to think about that and go back to answering Susie's electric question a little later. But right now, I just want to remind you we're at 90.1 FM, also at kpft.org and in their archives for 60 days. And we're featuring members of, as usual, the Houston Electric Vehicle Association. That would be Colin and myself, and we hope more will join us. But to find out more about them,
go to houstoneva.org.
All right, thank you. But joining us now, Peter Tesarek with Mobile EV Fast Charge. And first tell us, the one time you get to mention it in our non-commercial format, how to get in touch with you if people need to.
Good morning, Colin, David, Susie. Really, I'm blessed to be here, so thank you for having me. We have a website. It's mobile, with an E, mobileevfastcharge.com, and you can also reach me at if you have any issues with your EV at 832-209-6025. And our mission is to serve stranded EV motorists with degreed engineers using mobile EV charging stations from the technology leader in public EV charging stations. And our current service territory is Houston, Texas, and the surrounding counties, Harris, Montgomery, Fort Bend counties, including the Woodlands, Galveston, Sugar Land, Richmond, Channelview, and we just started serving College Station and Bryan because my daughter just started at Texas A&M up there.
All right. Well, tell us what happens when people need you.
So generally what happens is someone would find themselves with 0 miles, not at a charging station, whether that's at home or at a public charging station. They would open up they would say, okay, I need some help, and they've got a choice to make. Do you tow your vehicle or do you get charged by by mobile EV fast charge? And you can find us by Googling us on EV. Just Google EV roadside assistance, and you'd find the company. They would then we would contact them, find out where they are, then drive to where they are, hook them up to our generator powered charger. It's a level 2 charger, and we would give them enough miles necessary to make it to a public charging station.
So the before you were around, the only alternative was to get it towed. That was it.
Yes.
So this is a good service for EVs. It's a new service for EVs.
Yes, that's exactly correct. When a friend of mine told me that the only alternative was to tow their vehicle, I was like, that's not the best design. There's got to be some other solution for that. And I did the research, and there wasn't. And that was the genesis of mobile EV fast charge, really to help the community. And you don't want to be stranded by the side of the road. If you are, we've got an alternative, and we can get you on your way.
Well, and why do people forget to charge their car? How do they end up in this situation? I mean, all of us have run out of gas on occasion.
Often people get to a charging station, and it says on their map that there's a charging station there, and it's not working, or it's not the right connection for their car. They also may have some performance issues in their car. They were going faster than their car estimated that they would go when they were going to get the miles left on their car, and they didn't make it to the charging station.
Aren't they often renters they've got an electric car and maybe don't know anything about it, or?
Yes, that's a trend that I'm seeing in the market right now. Is there are people who are renting electric vehicles. They go to the rental car companies, and the less expensive alternative is to rent an EV. And people take it and they say, "Hey, I've never rented an EV before. I want to try it out." And they go, and the rental car companies don't give them an instruction manual. They don't give them any instructions necessary to get going properly and to plan their trips and to get charged when they need it. The other thing that I'm finding, and that's one of the tips that I was going to talk about at the end, is a lot of times the rental car companies aren't putting home chargers in the vehicles.
Yeah, I've had that. Yeah,
and they're then stuck. Their only alternative is to use the public charging station network.
I've thought about producing a one sheet for rental companies to provide that breaks it down very simply, gives them directions about where chargers are, and of course provide the equipment that they need. But some auto clubs are offering emergency services like this, and I've researched that in the area, and thus far they're not offering what you do here in Houston. But
That's correct.
In a number of cities they are.
Just earlier, the big one is they are offering it in like 20 big markets around the United States. They haven't gotten to Texas yet. They have it on their website that they're waiting until, I think that's like like 1 million EVs on the road in Texas before they start offering it in Texas. That's, you'd have to talk to them about it. But I anticipate that won't happen based upon my calculations of the sales rate of EVs. That probably won't happen for another 2 years. So it does. We're filling a niche in the market. It's really, I really have a fun time meeting people and hearing about their stories about EVs and the use of EVs, but we've definitely solved a lot of issues for people, providing roadside assistance for them.
And this is not just an altruistic gesture of yours. There is a fee involved. What can people expect to pay if they need your service?
Well, so the alternative is a tow truck, right? So a tow truck can cost $150, $200, $250
plus. Yeah.
Yep. So our base fee is $99, and that's to go to them, charge the vehicle, give them enough miles to get to the nearest fixed charging station. I usually go with them, make sure that they're safe, that they can start the charging process, and that's the service.
And I've seen newbies at at charging stations not knowing what to do. And I'm charging, and they say, "Can you tell me?" I have no idea. So it's great that people want to try electric vehicles, but they need to know what's involved. And we picked that up over my 12 years of driving one. So there's still stuff that I don't know. But
well, and one thing on that is a lot of people, the first wave that the technology early adopters went to the dealership, and the dealership had the incentive to train the buyer on the product, to make sure that they knew how to charge the vehicle, how to plan on their trips, because they didn't want them to come back with maintenance issues.
In my
right?
case, it was the salesman saying, "Oh, it's easy to open the charging door. Just push it, and it'll." Or it's easy to shift into gear. That was the extent of my training.
Right.
But with my car, I have a 2020 model that is not equipped for DC fast charge. Tell us a little bit about the different connectors and the different levels of charge, etc.
Great lead in. Thank you. Yes, there's really three.
That's why I'm the host.
He gets the big bucks.
Exactly. Okay, so yeah, there's level 1, 2, and 3. We'll talk about the level 1 are your home chargers, and those are provided by the vehicle manufacturers. They're generally 110 volt. They plug into your 15 amp plug at home, and you get about 2 miles an hour to charge those. And you better plug it in when you get home.
With us, it's 5 miles per hour up to 7 if you're doing it 12 amps. But go ahead.
Yes. So those are a good one if you can plug it in overnight and go for 10, 12 hours and get enough for your day. Those are oftentimes what we're finding in used vehicle sales or with rental car companies, as we talk about, that home charger doesn't come with the vehicle, and it's a real issue. The second level, the level 2, those are your generally the J1772 connection, and that is a 240 volt connection. It runs at between 8 and 10 kilowatts, and it can generate about 30 to 40 amps of power, and you can get 24 to 30 miles per hour of charging. And those are what if you went to Blink or ChargePoint, or if you had an electrician install one at your home on a breaker panel, you can get that at home. Those are your level 2 ones.
Which 95% of people charge at home.
Yes, that's correct. If you, especially the early adopters, had the resources to be able to get an electrician to give them a new breaker on their box.
And you're talking about 220 or 240 volt,
That's right.
and level 1 is 110.
110. That's that
120.
you can plug that into any plug there. Now, the interesting part comes when you get to level 3, and that's where the industry obviously wants you to move to. And there's kind of two varieties of that. One, the one that everybody but Tesla uses is a CCS connection, and that's a CCS Combo 1 or so, and they charge at a rate of in excess of 350 kilowatts, and that's 900 miles per hour. And that's when you go to your EVGos and your Shell Recharge, if you select the right Shell Recharge, and those are quite fast. That compares to your Tesla connection. If you've got a Tesla, you've got they call it a NAC, a North American Charging Standard. Good. Tesla named theirs the North American Charging Standard, and that's about 250 kilowatts. They could charge at about 750 miles per hour, and that's what you would call the Tesla superchargers.
But it depends on what your car can accept. So my car will not accept higher levels of charge, even with an adapter. What happens there?
That's correct.
You wait.
You wait. Yes. So most cars in the last 2 or 3 years have all been putting in that CCS connection. And supposedly there's negotiations between the companies to actually adopt the Tesla standard, but that has not started yet. There is a new there's two ways we look at it. There's a new level 3 option for Tesla that Tesla can start using CCS. There's an adapter that they can use. So Teslas that are newer than 2022 have the ability to use that standard. There's also, as I said, there's some negotiations on for certain manufacturers to let them use the Tesla network. Companies like Acura, Ford, GM, Genesis, they're all moving towards that.
Yeah, that's all happening.
Yep.
So there's so much to know and so much to learn from you, and we want to get back to you as time permits. But we need to do, or our fans will revolt in droves. Fun with Zip and Zap today, to charge or not to charge.
Hear that lonesome whippoorwill. He sounds too blue to fly. The midnight train is whining low. I'm so lonesome I could cry. I've never seen a night so long.
I thought you were going to plug in Zap.
I thought you were going to plug it in, Zip.
I thought you were going to plug in.
I thought you were going to plug it in.
Well, we could go on like this forever, but this is only a 30-minute show.
Yeah, Zip, and what does it matter who is supposed to plug it in? The fact is we're stuck out here in the middle of nowhere, out of charge for our beautiful new electric car.
You got that right, Zap. But don't worry, something will happen, as someone way more famous than us once said.
If only there was a way to automatically charge the car whenever we park at home.
I've heard of systems like that. Something wireless that sits on your garage floor, kind of like wireless cell phone chargers.
But the fact remains that we don't have one of those, and we're still stuck. What's so hard about remembering to charge or whose turn it is?
Well, you know, we're only human, and humans are inherently busy, distracted, and forgetful. It's nothing to be ashamed of. But let me think for a minute.
Okay, while you're thinking, which could take a while, I'll just have a word with this person whose truck says emergency charging, here when you need it most.
Snappy slogan. Trouble, folks? Anything I can do?
Well, you see, Zip here forgot to plug it in last night, and here we are stuck. It's as though you were sent from heaven.
that's a preview. Ahem. Well, never mind that. Let me just throw my wings in the truck, and I will have you up and running in no time flat. Did he say wings?
You heard that right, but let him do his magic.
There you go. That ought to get you where you're going. Wow, that didn't take long at all.
You're not going to say wow again when...
Oh, yes, I am.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll say it again. No way. The display says we've got 1,000-mile range.
There's a big trip in this for our hero.
A big what?
A big tip, I think.
Oh.
Trip. They're going to go places with this. Wait a second. Where did he go?
Look, he left a note. It says, glad to help, folks. And by the way, it was Zap's turn to plug in. Have a nice trip.
Well, it all worked out.
I knew it, Zap.
I know. It all worked out, didn't it? We wouldn't have met whoever that was otherwise. Now, who can we visit that lives 1,000 miles away?
I don't know, but I'm going to see about one of those automatic chargers when we get home.
Feel free, and I'll gladly pay for half of it. But don't forget, it will be your turn to plug it in next time.
No worries. And even if I don't do it, something is always bound to happen. Somehow, I don't think we have anything to be concerned about. We interrupt this program to remind you that this is a work of fiction. Experienced EV drivers usually keep well aware of their state of charge. And now we return to the conclusion. Oh, it's over. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
No tips, please.
Yes. All right. Well.
Wow, that was overwhelming.
Now, this wouldn't happen if you were around. Or are you that charging angel?
Well, you'll just hopefully you never have to use my services, but if you do, you'll have to see whether my wings come out when I do.
I thought I saw them when you moved in your chair just then.
Exactly.
You certainly look the part.
Absolutely.
It's the halo, I think, that does it.
Go ahead, Colin.
So one of our members at the Houston EVA was talking about when he bought his used Nero in Dallas, and his first time he'd driven an electric car, and did not get back for a minute. Did not reach his destination, and ended up having to call the tow truck. The tow truck got him to the charger and then left, and then he had to call him back because he couldn't get in the car. The 12-volt battery was dead. So most EVs have a very high voltage battery, but they also have a 12-volt battery that handles all of the locks, the accessories, the radio, all the low voltage stuff. And that battery is usually lead acid and does not last. It lasts as long as a 12-volt battery in an internal combustion engine. They don't last more than a couple years, especially in Houston heat. So can you talk a little bit about the 12-volt battery?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the good question. That's one of the important safety features, is to know what to do when and if your 12-volt battery dies, because a lot of times, especially if you're driving and you keep driving past when it says 0, you're like, I think I can make it. It will drain not only the high voltage battery, it'll drain the 12-volt battery, and I've actually. And like you said, it's necessary to run the onboard computer for charging the vehicle. So you've got to get that 12-volt battery going before you start charging again. I've had people that sat in their car, the battery died, and they were stuck in the car. So you've got it. So it's important in Teslas, for example, when the car's totally dead, there's some workarounds to pop the frunk and get to the 12-volt battery. And then you have to jump start
give it a little charge.
The charge to start the computer, and then you can start charging the 12-volt battery, the high voltage battery, which then supports the 12-volt battery. But there's like a tow eye in the front cone of the car. You have to pull the leads out and jump that, and it automatically jump starts opens the frunk. But you need to know. You should go into your owner's manual or onto Google and YouTube and find out how your particular model opens that frunk and gets you access to the 12-volt battery in the event that it's dead.
Before we forget, let's answer Susie's electric question. What was it again, Susie?
What's your motivation for getting an electric car?
Colin?
Well, to me, I've always been fascinated by alternative forms of drivetrain, because it seems like the internal combustion engine is a miracle. It's been perfected. Think about how many advancements in the last 100 years. It's incredible that this engine with thousands of moving parts works so well and is so reliable. But it feels kind of like a tube TV. There feels like old technology to me. And so to me, I'm interested in the environment, but I'm interested in the speed, the performance, and there are other aspects of it. That's me.
All those things are true for me, but it's kind of like why I'm vegan. It's better for the environment. It's better in so many ways. It's more reliable. It saves money. A lot of good reasons. We have many more questions for Peter. If you can tell me in 10 seconds, is it bad not to run the batteries down quite far? And is it bad for the batteries?
I don't think it's bad, but if you run it all the way to zero, it does take longer to charge it. One last thing I will tell you, and I do have tons I'd love to come back, but I will tell you, hurricane season is upon us. If you think that there's a hurricane coming, charge your battery to 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Now,
we're gone again. This has been Houston EV Hub on KPFT 90.1. Thanks to everyone, Peter Tesarek especially, Rico in the booth, Susie, Colin, me.
There's a line on the ground that'll take you anywhere. If you want to go somewhere in particular, you gotta follow the right line. But there's a line on the ground most places, and we're gonna follow that line to whatever we might find, though it might not be just what we were expecting. There's just no point directing that line on the ground. If you let it just might take you anywhere. If you let it just might